Welcome to the Bomb Shelter. I'm your host this time. My name is Jay, the Master McDowell.
Ooh.
With me is my co-host Kevin, the Couch Schumm.
Yes.
And our other co-host, Tim, Little Debbie McDowell.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yay.
In case none of those sound familiar, well, consider yourself lucky. It means you've never watched the movie we're about to talk about today, the 1966 classic, MANOS, The Hands of Fate.
We're almost there, honey. Just a little while longer and your vacation starts.
Inside this magic circle key.
I could have sworn we didn't make a wrong turn.
You must have.
Where did this place come from? It wasn't here a few minutes ago.
I am Torgo. I take care of the place while the master is away.
We only want to know where Valley Lodge is.
Which way do we go?
There is no way out of here. It will be dark soon. There is no way out of here.
Well, you know, we could spend the night here, and then
Oh,
tomorrow we
Mike.
could... Well, how about it, Torgo? Can we spend the night here?
I'll get the luggage.
I'll be glad to leave. I've had all of this place I want.
Madam, it will be very dangerous to leave now.
Arise, my wives, and hear the will of Manos.
Mike, help us. Oh, my God.
Manos, God of primal darkness, as thou hast decreed, so have I done. The hands of fate have doomed this man. Thy will is done.
So there you are, the alleged trailer for MANOS, The Hands of Fate.
Yeah.
This movie has the distinction in all of our recordings of being the first time we've not watched the movie beforehand, because as Kevin and I have discussed, next to Star Wars, we've probably seen this movie the most of any other movie,
Yeah.
so we kind of have it down. And Tim was kind of raised watching it also,
Yeah,
so
he's
seen it a couple times.
Just yeah. Yeah, I figured on the way here today, I thought, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind watching it, but given the weather and what's going on, I thought, will we really get anything new out of watching it one more time? And
Yeah.
no,
Do we need a refresher? So
not
much.
really. So, yeah, this is the only time we've done this, I believe.
Yeah. This was always kind of we had this as our reserve movie.
Yeah.
For if we ever were like in a bind and we couldn't watch a movie, but
Yeah.
we needed to record. And since we're recording this on the last day of February, we got a
Yeah.
bonus day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really cutting it close.
Yeah.
So, for those of you not familiar with the movie, Kevin, give us a rundown.
Well, it's hard to, it's easy and hard. It's basically, the idea is there's this family. Please correct me if I get anything wrong.
Okay.
Because you know how I am.
Yeah.
I could see it a million times. I still get something wrong. This family.
Wrong! Oh,
Oops.
sorry.
A dad, a mom, and little Debbie are going on vacation. And they're going to go stay.
Somewhere.
I don't know where they're intending to go.
They're in Texas.
Yeah, do they actually say where they're going?
No,
I don't
it's
know.
just we're on vacation.
They're on vacation
Yeah.
somewhere.
Like,
They're singing.
Well, back in the 60s, they used to just drive, and that was considered
Just drive for
vacation.
fun.
Yeah, in a circle.
Well, they get lost. And they end up at a place called the Valley Lodge Inn, which is
If that sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar. That's where we get our name. And they meet many strange, well, not many. They meet several strange people, including a person or a thing named Torgo. They meet the master.
Eventually.
And they meet some women in slightly see-through robes.
Diaphanous gowns.
Yes.
Yeah. The master's
And
wives.
the wives, yeah. They meet
a lot of moths.
Moths, yeah.
A rattlesnake.
Yeah.
A couple dogs.
No, they had one dog, but the master's dog.
Yeah, the
yes.
master's
Yeah.
dog, and then there's the coyote or whatever.
There was a
eats
coyote that, supposedly ate Peppy.
Peppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Peppy.
So that's, I mean, it's, what is it about? I mean, that's what happens.
It's a pretty generic.
It's basically.
Well, I mean, it was made on a bet.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
In the more trivia, yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert for later in the show. The basic story is really nothing special.
Yeah, they accidentally end up at this inn.
It's kind of a Brigadoon thing where the inn isn't really there.
Yeah.
And it shows up and just happens to be there when they come by.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of pulled into this
nightmarish world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hijinks ensue, and then
it
doesn't end well for any of them.
Anyone, yeah.
Particularly Fifi.
Oh,
Peppy.
So that's kind of the generic story. I think if somebody listens to this show, you,
Brandon,
you probably have seen this or definitely heard of it. If you're listening to this type of podcast, you've definitely heard of it.
Most likely I've seen
MANOS,
it, at least heard
probably
of it.
seen it too. But anyway, that's kind of the basics of it. But the good thing about this, I guess, good thing about this movie is not the story or what you're seeing on the screen. It's what happened behind the scenes and all that.
This is definitely one of those that's far more interesting how it was made and what went on to get to that point than the movie itself is an atrocity.
Yeah.
It's so hard to watch.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll get to the stories. We'll get to the stories.
I was just going to say about the voices too.
Oh yeah,
How
that's
yeah.
It's so badly made, badly acted, badly directed. It hurts to look at it.
Yeah.
It's visually awful. It just
Yeah.
And it would have gone down, just gone in the waste bin of history. As another, cheapo movie made in the 60s, and nobody ever think of it again until our friends at Mystery Science Theater 3000 found it.
Woo! That is the way most of the times I have seen the movie was probably the Mystery Science Theater version.
That was the first time I saw it, and I don't think I would have made it through
without them.
Without that.
They helped the buffer.
Yeah, a mutual friend of mine and Kevin watched it with him, and I don't think I would have made it the whole way through. Because watching it without it the first time I did, I was like, oh my word, because they edited a lot of it for this TV show. Watching the whole thing, it's like,
I know.
I feel like I'm trapped in the movie with them.
I know.
The driving scene is what just gets me.
Yeah.
They roll backwards and forwards, and
it just keeps
going,
goes
and goes and goes.
Going.
I have it on Glorious Blu-ray where they've actually cleaned it up a lot. It still looks like
crap.
Poop, but it's very sharp, clear poop.
Clear crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kevin's the only person who bought the Blu-ray.
Blu-ray,
There's probably a warehouse somewhere full of MANOS Blu-rays, and there's just one.
One missing.
One missing.
I not only bought the Blu-ray, I'm the president of the company that made the Blu-ray. Not really. So how do we want to start? I mean, we can probably get to the story as we go along, or I'm sure how if we want to get even want to get more detailed in the story of the plot.
Well, let's give a little bit of the background of who those accused of making this, who were responsible, and then we can, because not only the making, but some of the people behind it, their stories are interesting too.
Yeah, and we need to talk about the actual characters in the movie because there's especially two extremely interesting ones.
So let's do characters first.
Let's do characters first. So the family.
Okay, we got the family. We've got Harold P. Warren as Michael, the surly, unpleasant father.
Yeah.
Diane Marie as Margaret, his long-suffering wife.
Yeah.
Jackie Naiman as Little Debbie, their daughter, obviously.
Yes.
John Reynolds as Torgo, which we have not figured out what Torgo is. Tom Naiman as the Master. Several women who were from a local beauty college kind of thing portray his wives. The MANOS cult is a polygamous type cult. We have. I don't know why. I guess IMDb was really scraping for information. We have Bernie Rosenbaum as teenage boy, Joyce Moliere as teenage girl, William Bryan Jennings and George Cavender as cops, and Pat Coburn as girl in convertible.
Yeah.
And
that's everyone in the entire movie.
That's the entire cast list.
Pretty much.
Except for the two dogs.
Oh yeah.
They're not listed here. But.
No, they're not. I do know the Hellhound, his last name was Naiman because it was
his dog.
Yeah, if you caught on here, two of the people are related. Tom Naiman is the father of Jackie Naiman. Tom Naiman, the master, is the father of Jackie Naiman, who played Debbie. And their dog was the hellhound in the movie.
Yeah.
So, we've got these people, and it sounds like a lot of people, but primarily we focus on...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No,
5.
Well, yeah, we focus mostly on Michael and Margaret. Debbie disappears for a while. Torgo and the master.
Yeah.
And then we have one scene where the wives are all fighting.
Yeah.
But
they're kind of interchangeable. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. You
They
really
don't go into depth about any of them.
Yeah,
so.
none of them have names.
The only true characters from those 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boy and the girl, they're just making out. They're kind of a subplot that is supposed to drive the movie, and it doesn't really. I mean, other than the fact that when the police, they're making out in their car, and the police come up and they're like, "Why are you hassling us? Why don't you go hassle those people who drove down the road?" And the cops are like, "There's nothing down there." And well, they went flying down, and that's really it.
Yeah.
They don't play any other part.
Yeah.
The 2 police officers are about worthless, because they do hear at one point, they hear a gunshot. They walk about 5 feet in front of their car and go, "Well, could have come from Mexico for all we know. Well, let's get back in the car and go."
Yep.
And they leave.
Yep.
And there is a real life reason for that, but the way it's portrayed in the movie, it's just like they're the 2 worst cops in the world.
Yeah. So
we have a lot of people, but we focus on these few people that we named.
Yeah.
Basically, Michael just is not a pleasant guy. He gets them to the Valley Lodge.
Yeah.
They interact with Torgo. Torgo tells them they can't stay, and Michael's like, "Well, we need somewhere to stay, so you're going to let us stay."
Yeah. It's really, I mean, it's exactly what you expect. It's like whoever wrote the movie, or at least the way it ended up, doesn't understand how real life works. Like it just wouldn't. People wouldn't do what people do in this movie.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of people not acting like normal people.
Like what people, yeah. So yeah, I mean, when they get to the Valley Lodge, they think Torgo is sort of just like
he's a caretaker.
He's like a caretaker, so he wants them to carry
their
bags.
He tells them too. I take care of the place while the master's
away. Yeah. But I mean, they think of it they don't know what's waiting for them. But they just stupidly, looking at the place, I don't know why you would think this, but they stupidly just think it's some sort of little place to stay for the night, and then Torgo's just some guy who's going to take their bags, and they're just going to go in and get checked into a room, apparently.
All to the haunting tunes of Torgo's walking theme.
But instead, it's just basically a house that's filthy. And
gross. It's so gross.
Yeah, it's just
and the statues they have of the hands too.
Manos.
I mean, they very much play into the whole part of it, Manos.
Because Michael is like, "Well, okay, we'll go get our bags," and Torgo's like, "Fine, you can stay, all right." Then he gets them, and then Margaret kind of freaks out about the place and is like, "I don't like this place." Okay, Torgo, get her bags, put them back in the car. And then they go to start the car and it won't start. So it's like, okay, Torgo, bring our bags back.
Yeah. The one guy, disabled person in the movie.
I know.
Has to
Michael's
do all this.
Just not a nice person at all. Then when we do meet the master, I mean, you feel bad for Torgo because everybody treats him like crap.
Yeah, no one is nice to him.
And the master is the leader of this cult of Manos.
Yeah.
And it's not. I guess we're supposed.
Yeah.
See, this movie makes you really think.
You have
hard.
to make guesses of what's actually happening because they don't show you.
It's not just leaps of in figuring it out. You're never sure what Manos is. The general consensus is he's supposed to be a satyr.
Yeah.
Half man, half goat. We'll get into that
Torgo.
a little bit. Torgo, sorry.
Yeah, Torgo.
The master, though, we know he sleeps a lot.
Yeah. He laughs a lot.
He laughs a lot. He likes big flowy gowns with big hands on them, which I still want Tammy to make me one of those.
I thought you meant the female ones, or maybe you do.
I've already got one of those.
Yeah.
It looks rather nice.
Yes.
And they're out in this. I mean, he lays on this slab. The wives are all kind of asleep on these
Like
pillars.
a trance almost kind of thing, because they're asleep, but they don't wake up until he commands them to wake up. Kind of thing.
And so it's got this like supernatural bent to it, but you're not sure, is the master just
a guy?
Yeah. Who happens to be a heavy sleeper, likes sleeping
Yeah.
outdoors,
Likes
or
a bunch of wives.
Yeah, likes big gowns, or is he supernatural?
Yeah.
That's like a recharging or something like that.
Yeah, and this is just his little portal, his little
Yeah.
place in the galaxy, in the universe.
Yeah.
So you're never given enough in the story to figure that out.
Yeah.
There is supernatural stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because he does put Torgo in a trance at one point. The whole moving the thing back and forth in front of him. And the fact that the lodge apparently appears and disappears. We don't see that in the movie.
Yeah.
But when the cops talk to the kids and they're like, they talk to those people went down the road and they're like, there's nothing down there.
Yeah.
So we are led to believe that it isn't usually there.
Yeah.
But it's an awful weird thing to just pop up.
Yeah.
In the you would think if it was something from like ancient times, it wouldn't look like a really gross rundown house in El Paso
from the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, from the 60s. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just really, really hard to.
Yeah, I don't know.
Figure that part out. That angle of it.
Is Manos like the god, and then the master's kind of in charge, and then Torgo's sort of a servant? Is it that sort of like structure of
I think it's the hierarchy.
Right? That's how I've always.
Yeah, Manos is supposed to be the deity.
Yeah.
And then then Master is the leader of the cult.
Yeah.
The lieutenant basically.
Yeah.
And then Torgo cleans toilets at the
Yeah. He does whatever he's told.
Yeah, pretty much.
And creepily touches their hair too.
He does have a hair thing.
Yeah, he does.
Poor Torgo. So, well, I mean, when we get to the end of it, of course, going back to the supernatural thing, we see, Torgo just disappears.
Yeah.
And then Michael becomes the new caretaker.
Yeah.
And Debbie, Ick, and Margaret become Master's wives.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Debbie waits for her to
wait
mature a little bit.
Wait like 15 years or something.
At least.
Yeah. She's like 7 or 6 in that movie, so.
She was like 5.
Yeah, 5.
Never mind. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then the movie kind of loops and starts over again.
Yeah.
Because another couple girls get lost and they pull up and Michael gives them the master spiel.
Yeah.
So it just keeps going over. And
it's just a loop.
And then you start crying because you're like, no, it's starting
don't
over
start
again.
Yeah.
Please don't. So.
But yeah, I mean, basically it's them, they get lost. They realize that it will be dark soon, so they need somewhere to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Then they don't want to stay because it's gross. No one would. And at first, Torgo doesn't want them to stay.
Yeah, Torgo tells them they can't.
And then once they want to leave, then they need to stay.
Yeah.
He wants them to stay, or the master does, or something. And
yeah.
I mean, I think the idea, if you step back, I mean, this is such a deep movie. But if you step back, I think what it is the master just wants, it's time for a new wife or wives. So it's maybe the master is like, oh, there we go.
Yeah. Hey.
I got a new wife and a backup in 15 years. Something like that.
Ew.
I know.
Well, but then Torgo takes a liking to Margaret.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't have her. Because that's the supernatural thing again.
Yeah.
He goes when the master's asleep and he starts taunting him and he's like, you can't have her. She's mine. She's mine. Yeah, and then he does the hair thing with the other.
Yeah.
Ick. And, I don't know. The more you try to think about
you start to explain, you realize, like, I don't know anything about this movie.
I know. You explain it and it's... Because there's so much going on, and then you just get lost in what you were trying to explain. You're like, I don't know where I am.
And then you realize, like, that didn't actually happen. My brain tried to fix that part of the movie. Yeah, because, like autocorrect. Like, that doesn't make sense.
This, right?
But that didn't actually happen. I just, like, fix it with my brain to make that happen.
I'll make it work.
But we have no idea why they wanted him to stay necessarily, or
no, because I think what I was... Now I kind of remember... I don't know if Torgo was trying to warn them away
At the beginning?
Yeah. Or if he was actually saying, no, the master wouldn't approve.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, we don't know why he changes.
I know.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Torgo's actually a hero.
Yeah, he is the hero.
It could also be that they just didn't want to write any because the money was, too. They didn't want to write any other endings or things to close off other novels.
They may have just ran out of film.
Yeah, that's true.
Since each one was, like it says there, the 32 seconds.
So, okay, yeah, let's, this is starting to hurt my head just talking about it. I don't know how long we've been talking.
I don't know.
Seems like, I feel like we're at the Valley Lodge already.
We're almost to where we normally take a break.
Okay.
Should we take a break, or is there anything you want to throw in before we...
I'm about to have a nosebleed.
Okay.
Trying to do this.
Right.
So let's take a quick break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to compose ourselves and get our thoughts straight, and we will be right back.
Yep.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Merrily, merrily, merrily.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. Okay.
So now we get to the interesting stuff that are actual facts, not just our imagination.
Yeah.
The interesting part of this movie is the behind-the-scenes information.
Far more interesting. Well, let's get to how the movie even came into being.
Well, I know the movie was made basically on a bet. It was a bet trying to see if they can make a movie for as cheap as possible.
Yeah, we need to wind back just a little bit. Harold P. Warren.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, because we need to understand who's who. Harold P. Warren, who plays Michael,
yes,
also is the writer, director, producer,
yeah,
everything for this movie.
And a couple of voices, I thought, right?
Yeah, well, we'll get to that too. That was fun. So, as Tim was saying, there was a bet. And he made it with another screenwriter named Sterling Siliphant. And he wrote things like, I think his most famous thing was Route 66, old TV show.
Yeah.
They were doing some filming for Route 66 in El Paso where this was filmed. Warren was a fertilizer salesman, which is so appropriate.
It's perfect, yeah.
For this movie and for the amount of crap he slung trying to get it made.
I'm going to stop selling crap, and instead I'm going to sell
crap.
Yeah.
So like Tim was saying, he made a bet. It was over lunch. He was having lunch with Sterling Siliphant, I think, and they kind of wrote it out on a napkin. And what was it for?
It was, I can't remember the exact amount they made it for, but they ended up making the movie for about $19,000, which is about $150,000 in 2019.
Okay, so the bet was that he could make it for under that, much or under.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the amount exactly, but for that much, and he did. The bet was that he could make a good horror movie for under $19,000.
Let's take that apart. Did he make it good?
He achieved 1/3 of that bet. He made a movie.
Yes.
He made something where pictures
not good,
moved.
Not horror.
No, he failed at 2/3 of it. But he did make a movie for under $20,000. So good on you, Hal. In order to cut costs, I mean, he hired local community players.
Yep.
Again, the aforementioned wives were all from a local beauty school.
Yeah.
Jackie Naiman, Tom Naiman, they're related. Just a lot of local El Paso people.
Yeah.
The inn was the house of a judge who was running for re-election, I think.
Yeah. And
it was like, sure, put it in a movie.
You say this will help me get reelected?
Yeah, this will make me famous. All right. Where the master lived, I think it was somewhere out on the property too. Yeah. Just some weird places, weird things on this person's property. I don't know why. What were some of the others? The technical parts of it.
Yes, technical.
the camera.
Because obviously they didn't have a huge budget for special effects or equipment. They're already using just found places. They're not building sets.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want me to take this one?
Yeah.
So they had a camera, which I don't remember. I don't know anything about
It was
cameras.
a Bell and Howell.
A Bell and Howell camera. And what it does is it wasn't powered. You would actually wind it up, like a wind-up toy almost. And what happens with that is that means you wind it up a certain amount, and then after a certain amount of time, it winds down and it's done, and then you have to wind it up again. And that amount of time, it looks like was 30 to 32 seconds.
Yeah.
So there's no scene in this movie longer than 30 to 32 seconds because they would, whether they wanted to or not, they would have to cut at that point and then do something.
And you see that in some of the scenes where toward the end of it slows down.
Yeah, because obviously a wind is going to go full power at first, but as it starts to run out, the very last couple seconds kind of slow down.
Yeah, and so it's funny seeing that in the movie. You're like, why did everybody? Oh,
yeah,
it's winding down.
Yep.
It also didn't have any sound.
Yep, no sound. So that was always fixed in the post production, right?
Well, yeah, that's what Warren would tell everybody.
Fixed.
Yeah, everybody would go, what about the sound? Oh, we'll do it in post.
Yeah.
And there's the one famous scene with the kids making out, where at the beginning of the scene you see the clapper.
Yeah.
You see it, and then they pull it back, and it's just left in.
Yeah.
And he would just, every time something would happen, there's I think there's one part where they knock something over, or they hit something, and he's like, "We'll fix it in post."
Fix it in post.
So it just became the running joke.
Yeah. And nowadays you probably could fix some of those things in post, but back then you couldn't.
Well, nowadays
not with the equipment and money that they had,
because he was using film.
Yeah.
And so that film stock was limited and expensive.
Yeah.
And now we got digital, so you can just record
Keep
what
going
you
and
want.
going and going. Yeah.
And then clip it all together really easy on a computer.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had to really work with the limitations he had.
I think one problem that Warren had was that he didn't know what he was doing, and he wasn't very talented.
And he was too full of crap.
Yes.
To seek help, or at least pay for help.
Yeah.
He wanted to do everything as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
So, like, nobody was paid. The only two actors that were paid.
People.
Yeah. Well, one was a people.
Yeah.
Jackie Naiman was given a new bicycle.
Little girl Debbie, she got a new bike.
Little Debbie got a new bike, and the Hellhound got a bag of dog food.
Yep.
Those are the only two paid.
Everybody else. The other little dog. They couldn't have shared like half of the dog food for the little guy and half of it for the.
Well, that's maybe what the dog food was.
Oh, there you go.
Didn't think of that.
I didn't think of that. No.
See, that's how cheap Warren was.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, dog food. Well, here's a dog for you.
I mean, there was a coyote scene.
Yeah, but that was apparently Warren going.
It was a real.
As were many of the other sound effects and voices.
Yes.
Yeah. Due to the fact that there was no sound recording because the camera couldn't record sound, all the voices were done in post. Most all the voices were done by Warren, and I don't think it was one of the actresses. I think it was another woman he knew.
Yeah, I don't think it was someone that was in the movie.
Yeah, and they did everyone from Michael to Torgo to what do we got there?
Yeah.
So quit pointing, start reading, Tim.
Yeah, so it looks like Warren, Tom Naiman,
the master, and Reynolds. I guess apparently they probably did their own.
Okay,
voices.
yeah.
And Warren's wife.
She's the one that wasn't in it.
Yeah.
So they all did it up to and including Debbie's voice.
Yeah.
Which is obviously not a 5-year-old girl.
It's an adult doing a kid
and
voice.
I thought they did the dog's voice, the dog barking too, the little dog.
They probably did.
Because I heard a couple times where I thought we had talked about that.
Well, because there was no sound recorded, so they had to do something. So
probably either a real or fake dog.
Yeah, it's probably just one going ruff, ruff, ruff. So they dubbed everything.
Yeah.
Very poorly. I don't even know if there's any sound effects in the movie. Other than the gunshot.
There's music. There's background music.
There's background music.
The driving music is about it.
There's the stock footage rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Which I think hisses.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I don't think there's really any
other noises now.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're hearing like.
You
Yeah, I don't think you hear like footsteps or bags being set down and picked
they'd
up.
have to add everything else.
You hear the car because like when he goes to try and start the car, wow,
Yeah.
wow, you know, the big huge love boat of a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all the voices dubbed, all the whatever sound effects there were. The lighting, they filmed, instead of doing day for night shooting, they shot at night.
Yeah.
And in the deserts of El Paso, when you turn a spotlight on at night, it becomes moth central.
Yeah.
So moths should have actually gotten a credit in the movie because there's like 8 million of them.
I should put myself in this moth
There you
number
go.
5.
There you go. Scene 82, moth number 5.
Please do that.
Everything is filmed at night. You just see bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
And the lights that they had only had about a range of 10 feet.
Yeah. So everything has to be done like right here.
Yeah. And that's why the cops in that one scene,
Yeah.
they walk a few feet in front of their car, but they're having to stay in the light. But they only walk like just to the front of the car, and then they're like, and then turn around and get back in the car. That's why.
Yeah.
Because it was pitch black, and there was no light strong enough at the time.
Yeah.
Shoot, what else was there? There's there's the gross interior of the lodge.
So yeah, you noticed the our nicknames.
The introduction.
Jay was the master. That's obvious because of the master in here.
Yeah.
I was the couch. Well, my favorite character in the movie is not alive.
Not an animate object.
Yeah, it's a couch. It's just this disgustingly dirty couch.
Stained.
Yeah, and I don't know if we know this or not. Was that couch a couch in that person's house that just, I guess, didn't care about cleanliness?
I think
Or did they find it on the side of the road here in Banning?
it may have been both.
Okay.
They may have found it and said, let's put it in the judge's house.
But it's just
that
you would think you would think a judge could afford nice furniture.
Yeah,
It's gotta be a pretty
you
good
would
job.
Also, it was the middle of the desert, so they may have found one out there.
That's true, yeah.
But it was filmed inside of his house.
Yeah.
So
they
it
brought
wasn't
it in.
like
well,
a
on the way
set
to
some-
location or from.
But,
they
well,
might have
no,
seen
but what I'm
something.
saying though is most likely it was in there already.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
And it's really gross. It's just
It's so
it looks like the kind of thing you would not want to even
Touch.
sit on. And you definitely wouldn't want to lay down on it with your
scene,
face.
The scene where
like
Debbie lays down. Every time we watch it, we're just like,
Don't do that. Yeah.
She needs a shot.
Yeah.
Lots of them. The decorations in there crack me up too. The big giant slug things on the wall.
Yeah.
We've never been able to figure out what those were.
Yeah.
And then all of the painting of the master and the hellhound and all the hand statues, those were all done by Tom Naiman.
Yeah.
He was
Like a local artist, right?
Yeah. And he was, for some reason, obsessed with doing hand statues and sculptures.
He was in his hand period.
Yeah. Neiman's hand period.
Yeah.
Poor guy, he just passed away like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
So, rest in peace. There's just so much to try and...
I know. There's so little, yet there's so much.
It's just the movie that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
I
think we should focus a little bit on Torgo. Both the character and the actor.
Yeah, we have been kind of hobbling around Torgo.
Yeah. So Torgo is this caretaker. He's very strange. He looks strange. But the first thing you notice about him is that he walks in a very strange way.
And has gigantic
thighs. So you don't... I think back in the Mr. Science Theater days, there was this rumor that if the bar at the bottom wasn't there, you would actually see that Torgo was half goat and that he had like hooves or something, right?
But we've seen it plenty of times and never.
Yeah, I have it on Blu-ray now with no people down at the bottom, and he just has feet.
Yeah, and the reason for him doing that and looking the way it was, he was, I guess, told, because he was a local actor, he was kind of method acting, and he was told that he was supposed to be a satyr. And so he built this rig to make it so he could walk. I can't remember. I think it's called Digigrade or something like that. Anyway, look like he's walking on his toes. Yeah. And he wore black shoes, so they looked like hooves.
Yeah.
But he wore it backward.
Yeah.
He, for some reason, there's
We'll
probably
get to
a
that
reason.
in a
We'll get
minute,
to
too.
that. He wore it backward, and he, by all accounts, he was in a lot of pain doing it because it was not comfortable. But it gave him this weird gait where he would like walk and hobble and
Kind of stumble.
stumble everywhere.
Looks like he was a little drunk almost.
Well,
basically.
he was mostly stoned the whole time.
Yeah.
But he could barely.
He's a method actor with emphasis on the meth.
On the meth part, yeah. That was pretty bad. Sorry, Torgo.
Yeah, sorry, Torgo.
But yeah, that's what gave him that weird walk. But it's never explained in the movie what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And like I said, we can't really see his feet.
Yeah.
I think we do see his feet one time, but it doesn't look like he's wearing black shoes.
It's just
it looked like
shoes.
hooves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he stumbles around looking drunk most of the time, and that is because, unfortunately, the actor John Reynolds, who portrayed him, was really heavy into drugs at that point, and he died before the movie was released.
Yeah.
According to Jackie Naiman, though, she said, even though he was pretty much bliss, she said he was just really a super nice guy and a lot of fun to be around and stuff, but he just was rather, unfortunately, had personal issues.
Yeah. That is a great example, though, the fact, like, just stepping back about a minute, the fact, this gives you an idea of the movie, that here we are again, like, we think he's a satyr, but we're not really sure because they never tell you that, but he walks weird, but Debbie doesn't ever say, Mom, why does that man have hooves?
Yeah.
I mean, they just never talk
Look
about
at his
it.
knees.
Just all this kind of like up in the air, make your own, choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
And in some movies you chalk that up to they cut scenes.
Yeah.
Or they had to cut something from the script. I was talking to Tammy. She loves it when I do this.
Yeah.
We were talking about Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
How Anakin just changes from Anakin to Vader. And it's just like...
In a couple minutes,
Yeah. Apparently, I'm reading the novelization, there's more to it.
Yeah.
And you get more, and so it makes more sense. It doesn't seem like he just goes, okay, I'm sad, I give up, I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
But this, though, there was nothing cut from this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even, like, how long is this movie? It's less than the hour 30.
It's just over an hour.
Yeah, it's just barely over an hour. So
Well,
they're stretching for time anyway.
We're not going to get a director's cut
There's
because
no
there's
cut.
nothing
This is
left.
the director's cut, yeah.
Well, it might be something, too, that they just didn't want to write those because they started exploring it and realizing we don't have the money and we're trying to keep it cheap, so.
Yeah.
I think Warren was full of himself enough that
Maybe.
he would have loved to. I think he just didn't know the word satyr.
Yeah.
And didn't want to call him Goat Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yo, Goat Boy.
So Goat Man over there.
No, Goat Man.
Let's, I think maybe at this point, talk about that it actually was shown in a movie theater.
Yes.
It was not released like movies would be today in theaters.
Theatrical release.
Yeah.
Actually, did get a little, kind of,
a
sort
little
of.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So Warren doesn't pay anybody. He tells everybody, look, you'll all get paid from the proceeds from the movie. All the money we're going to make is they're going to drive dump trucks full of cash.
Yeah, just dump it out.
And it'll be right here, and you can just take what you want. Yeah.
It backs up. Beep, beep. Where do you want this money?
He tips over, and there's like 10 cents come falling out.
All right.
All right. So the premiere, he wanted it to be a big deal. Warren wanted it to be a huge deal.
Yeah.
And so he hired a limousine.
Yeah, not limousines.
Not limousines, plural. A limousine. Had rented out the local theater there in El Paso. Had spotlights, red carpet, and what he would do is a limo would come and drop off 2 of the stars, and everybody, yay! And a limo would drive around the block, pick up 2 more people, drive around, drop them off.
Yeah.
And just did this repeatedly.
Yeah. So if you're standing there, you're thinking like, wow, they're all showing up in limousines that all have the same license plate number.
Hey, isn't that weird?
Same drivers, too.
Yeah. Isn't that odd? So they get in, they start playing the movie, and people start laughing hysterically.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if it was Warren or it was everybody who started it, they all pretty much slunk out and nobody saw the whole thing. It did get a theatrical release in El Paso on the drive-in movie circuit, but there's no receipts from then, so we have no idea how much money it actually made. But it did get a little bit of play.
I bet it made less than 19,000.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Warren himself, after everything in true fertilizer salesman way, said, this would make a good comedy if it was done right. He tried to make a sequel. That didn't happen, thankfully, because that was going to be a comedy.
Yep.
I don't know. It was not good.
And it still isn't good.
It still isn't, but it's so wonderful.
Yes.
It is probably my favorite bad movie.
I think, is it the most famous bad movie? I don't know if it necessarily is, because we've seen lots of bad movies.
Yeah.
And there are some that are definitely in the same level as MANOS. But MANOS might be the most famous of bad movies.
It's famous now because of Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been anything before. I think a lot of people say Plan 9.
Plan 9 is the other one.
Because that's the one that's more known.
Yeah.
For me, it's, if not my favorite, one of my favorites. My top 2, 3. It's just because it fits, for me, the bad movie metric.
Yep.
Of it's poorly made. Nobody knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
But they wanted to make a good movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional. He did not set out to make this atrocity.
Yeah.
When they try to, like when sci-fi does, the first Sharknado was kind of kind of fun, and when they just kept doing it, it's like, you're doing it on purpose.
You're making a bad movie on purpose.
When we watched Birdemic 2?
Yeah. We watched it separately.
Okay, but they intentionally tried to make it bad.
Yeah.
You saw where they were doing things on purpose.
I think the first one was at least slightly accidentally bad, but the second one wasn't.
I've heard both.
Yeah.
People go, there's no way this could not have been intentional.
Yeah.
And I've watched it and then just like, well, it could be.
Yeah.
It could be just that bad.
Yeah.
But it fits. It checks off all those boxes, and it's not mean spirited. It's not.
Yeah.
It's the little movie that tried.
Yeah.
And because we've seen some where they're just obnoxiously bad, egregiously bad.
Yeah.
And then there's others where people, like I said, they thought they're making it. Plan 9.
Yeah.
Ed Wood thought he was making a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Troll 2. They thought they were making a great movie.
Yeah.
They weren't. But you admired the fact that they were trying. They tried to do something.
Yeah.
We do have a few stories.
Oh yeah.
In regard to the movie.
About the movie itself, not about
our personal experience.
With the movie. Yes.
You want to tell us about your friend Michael?
Oh, yeah. I did have a friend that I brought over once and showed him this movie, and that was the last time he came over. But
he never came over
for some reason. He didn't want to hang out anymore.
Couldn't understand why.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Don't know.
Yeah, I remember we were living in the apartment. You brought him over, and you're like, "Oh, let's watch MANOS. Let's watch MANOS." Oh, okay, sure. Last time we ever saw Michael, never came over again. Probably told his mom. She was like, "You're not allowed to go there."
Yeah. And then you also have another one.
I've got a couple, actually.
Oh yeah, you got 2 at least.
One, I actually showed the Mystery Science Theater version of this to my wife on our honeymoon.
Yeah.
Our first full day married.
Yeah.
We watched this, and she's still with me.
She's still.
I don't know what that says about her.
Yeah.
But
you're like, okay, we'll watch the Mystery Science Theater version because I'm not a jerk.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I can't do that.
I don't hate you that much yet.
Yeah.
I'll save that for when I'm mad at you.
Yeah, then we'll watch the end.
30-year anniversary. There.
Yeah.
The second story, I actually had a DVD player commit suicide.
Yeah.
Trying to play this. I played it, and then one day I put it in the DVD player, said, I'm out.
Yeah.
And just died. I don't think I've ever seen a piece of equipment just go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Were you able to at least save the DVD?
I was able to
Okay, good.
to get the DVD. I think it didn't want to die with that.
Yeah.
Yet. It's like, I'm going, just...
It like dies and spits it out.
Let's see, do you have anything? Do you have a story?
The only thing that keeps... I don't have a story with watching it necessarily, but I just have... There's this one scene in the movie. I don't think it's intentional, but I think it's so hilarious. I think it's unintentionally the best acting ever. And it's with... So the master has many wives, and apparently wants even more. I don't know exactly how many he has, but any normal person knows that it would not be fun to have a whole bunch of wives. Like, one wife is enough,
one
right?
is hard enough to do.
Yes. It, just like with any people, nothing against wives or
I know
women.
where you're going.
But there's this part where the wives are all arguing, and the master is like, I think he's just sitting on like this edge of this little cement thing.
Questioning his life choices.
It's just like, why do I keep getting more wives? Because the look on his face, he just looks like, my life sucks so much.
Please shut up.
But it's
Please,
not.
all
I'm
of you.
almost 100% sure that's not what you're supposed to get out of it. But every time I see that, I laugh, and I think it's like, that's the funniest thing I've seen in almost any movie ever, and it's accidental.
Yes, he's just like, why do I keep doing this?
Why do I keep? And then 20 minutes later, he gets 2 more wives.
Yeah, I know. I'm just not. They should have had a sequel where he's like seeking out help.
Yeah, it's MANOS, the divorces of fate.
He's at a counselor sitting
Yeah.
laying on things. I don't know. I just keep getting more of them. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Oh, so.
I've been calling a witness Torgo.
So, is it true that you would go into the master's domain at night and fondle the hair of the wives? The master would not approve of such things. I do, but the master wouldn't. So, there we go.
Yeah.
MANOS.
MANOS, the Hands of Fate.
If you're going to watch it, and you've not watched a lot of these movies before, get the Mystery Science Theater version.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Which is hysterical because even in that, they're crying through most of it. Because it's just horrible. Even at the end, the Mads are like, yeah, we're really... They both come up individually like,
we're sorry.
We may have gone a little over
Yeah,
with this one.
far.
We're sorry.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, I definitely recommend, if you're interested in this podcast or just in bad movies in general and you haven't seen this movie, you need to, or else other bad movie fans will make fun of you.
Yeah, pretty much.
For not having seen it.
Yeah.
So
This is the one all the cool bad movie nerds watch.
Yeah.
and then act like they are too cool for it, but they all love it.
Yeah.
It is a good bad movie.
You even watch it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I actually have the Mystery Science Theater one on my phone and on my devices. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
There you go. So now you can take the master anywhere.
That's
Yeah.
So there we have it. MANOS, The Hands of Fate. Go out, watch it. We won't even do a good, bad, the ugly because we'd be here for another hour just trying to get past the bad
and
part.
the ugly. Yeah.
Where will they find us, Kevin?
They can find us on YouTube. You've already found us if you're hearing this.
Yes, they're hearing this.
At Valley Lodge Productions, the
kind of umbrella
page
place where you would find us.
If you'd like to communicate with us, we would also like that. And you can email us at valleylodgeproductions@gmail.com.
And I may or may not check that semi-annually.
I've never checked it.
I look on occasion. Most of it's just, hey, you can make your podcast better by probably not putting this kind of stuff on it.
But not doing a podcast.
But just don't. It'll be better.
We have communicated through the messages and stuff on the comments. So keep those coming, and we'll try to get back to you on that.
Yep.
And that's it.
I think that's the end.
I think so.
The end? Question mark?
Question mark?
Dun, dun, dun.
Bye.
Peace.
Out.
Bye.